Thank you. That concludes the resolutions. We're going to move to the mayor's report, and I'm pleased to provide the mayor's report for the period of May 27th through June 9th, although I have to admit that I wasn't in the city of Thompson for very much during that period. However, while I was in Thompson, I did attend a number of meetings. The first meeting was on May 27th, along with Deputy Mayor Fenske, Chief Mascarene, City Manager, and other administration. We met with Inspector Duff and representatives of the RCMP to discuss the policing priorities for the coming year here in our community. And as always, I welcome the opportunity to have those discussions. On June the 3rd, I had the opportunity to attend, along with Councillor Byer, the Cultural Proficiency Training, the second phase of the two-day program, where we attended at Mile 20. I want to acknowledge and thank Laurie Henderson, Loretta Daikun specifically, Ron Cook from the School District of Mystery Lake for putting on just an absolutely tremendous program, and I look forward to the continuation of that program under the leadership and, quite frankly, the stewardship of UCN. It's a great opportunity. I know many of our administration have undertaken that program, and I certainly encourage continuing to do so. On June 5th, I had the opportunity, as I indicated earlier, the commanding officer of the RCMP D Division was here in Thompson, and I really appreciated, I got the call the day before indicating that he was coming through the community and was wondering if I had the chance to perhaps sit down and have a conversation. Well, I can tell you this. That has come an awful long ways in terms of a relationship with the RCMP and the commanding officer of D Division when you have the chance to have that sort of dialogue. And I think it really reflects his leadership and his commitment to our community and Northern Manitoba in terms of policing. Here's an individual that gets out on the street, and I have always been very impressed, and I look forward to continued strong working relationship. And I know, Councillor Lafreniere, you serve on a committee with him, and I think you would share the same comments. On June the 7th, I will have to acknowledge, although I didn't necessarily participate in the National Fitness Day, but everything I hear was it was a very good day, and we provided some of our facilities free of charge, and I'm very pleased to see that. We also were recognized in terms of that contribution. During the period of May 29th through June 2nd, along with Councillor Hogan and City Manager Sepatelli, I had the opportunity to attend the 77th, I believe, FCM Conference and Trade Show in Niagara Falls. Very pleased to represent our community, and I had an opportunity while I was there, as all of us did, to attend a number of different sessions. I can tell you I attended a session on housing and homelessness, another session on public safety, and then another session on alternative revenue sources. And I left that the conference extremely proud and very pleased with where we are at as a city. In every one of those sessions, it reinforced that the things that we are doing as a community and as a small community are the things that are being done by the leading communities right across this country. In terms of homelessness, the Housing First model is the model that is working right across this country and is the model that we're now pursuing with things like Project Northern Doorway. In terms of public safety, some of the unique initiatives that we have been doing and the partnerships that we've been pursuing, such as the Extreme Cold Weather program. And then the alternative revenue sources that City Manager Sepatelli and I had a chance to attend. Quite frankly, I think the City of Thompson could have been the one that was putting that session on. When you take a look at the funding that we brought in through the accommodation tax, more importantly than just a tax, how we spend it through the GIL with Valley and through other sources. So very pleased to see that, and I think that all too often we forget that because of the efforts of council, and I thank council members and this community and the partners that we have in this community, we are on the leading edge and we're doing what is being reaffirmed as the right things in Canada. Also had obviously an opportunity to attend a number of networking events while we were there, and certainly discussions both here with our AMM colleagues and with fellow mayors and councillors from Manitoba, but also right across the country, and again touch base with some of those ones that we've spoken to in the past. The one downside was that unfortunately Councillor Hogan decided not to let her name stand again for the FCM Board of Directors. Unfortunate, as there was no question that her network and her connections at FCM are absolutely bar none. Gary and I sort of followed her around, and she was able to introduce us to just about everyone there. So I do want to acknowledge and thank Councillor Hogan for your commitment at FCM. You have put Thompson on the stage at a national level. You've represented us very well, especially in the work that you've done in terms of promoting more women in politics and initiatives such like that. And I know that you're going to be missed, and I look forward to when you rejoin the board in the future. Some other things just in terms of the things I want to touch on. One is tomorrow evening we will be having a public meeting on the water rate study and preparing the application to the Public Utility Board that has to be submitted later on this year for the next 3-year phase. I encourage people to get out and attend that meeting. A couple other things. Obviously, I was very pleased, quite frankly, when I got off the plane and had an opportunity this weekend to drive around the community and see the impact that has been made in terms of cleaning the community up. It's greened up a little bit, the leaves are out, but more importantly, it was reported this morning at the mayor's meeting that I think we were close to, if not exceeded, our budget for cleanup this year. The numbers of groups, the number of bags that are picked up, absolutely stunning. Most importantly, it's made a difference. And yesterday I had an opportunity. I was downtown early on, and I saw that there was a fair bit of garbage that had been left around, likely from the night before. By that afternoon, our public area attendant had already cleaned up the area, and it makes a huge difference. So I want to thank all those people that have gotten out and collected garbage for the bags. Unfortunately, the program ends tomorrow, but our commitment to a clean community cannot end with a funding program. It has to be ongoing, it has to be continuous, and I ask residents to help us. Obviously, we're going to continue on our street sweeping. I believe we're in the Deerwood area tomorrow. We're now in the residential areas. Very pleased to see the progress being made there. And it was mentioned a little bit earlier on in terms of the fire that took place. I want to acknowledge, I was made aware of that through communication, and I want to thank the Thompson Fire and Emergency Services. I understand it was a very hot fire. It was potentially a very dangerous fire, and because of the efforts and the, as I've always said, the training, the equipment, and the commitment of our Thompson Fire and Emergency Services members, that fire was handled without any injury or loss to other buildings. It was acknowledged, I think, in the public lately that there have been a large number of fires. I am confident in saying, again, this was a natural situation, and it just proves the value of having a well-equipped and trained full-time fire and emergency service. It was interesting out in FCM. There's a lot of discussion going on right now across this country of how people can save money. And that's one of the options. It is not an option for me in the city of Thompson. And John, I wanted you to convey to our members our appreciation for the work that was done. Lastly, I understand there's a fair bit of discussion taking place with the water utility. I encourage those people that are having that discussion to perhaps come out to the public meeting tomorrow. More importantly, please communicate with our administration. We have the information through the technology of these meters to produce data logs that will show consumption of water. And I've often heard that individuals are saying, my meter's broken, there must be a problem. What we've found is that, in fact, when you wait a quarter or two, the meter's not broken. They get back to what was a regular thing, and that's telling us, or common sense, I believe, is telling us that the water passed through the meter. And unfortunately, that's a reality. We've had some circumstances in terms of how those things might be happening. But please communicate with Carol Taylor. I had an opportunity along with Chief Financial Officer Krentz to sit down and take a look at some of the information, and it's amazing what we can find and pinpoint and help residents to identify leaks and things along those lines. Lastly, I'm going to go to Councillor Hogan, because I understand our protege program is coming to an end again for this year, and perhaps you want to just thank our proteges.
Thanks, Mayor Johnson. I actually wanted to note that our protege, Chanel Shumka, is in the audience with us tonight, and I believe that this will be her last council meeting of the year. I just wanted to acknowledge her and her participation, and also Emily Pruder, who isn't able to be here tonight. The protege program, this was our second year with the protege program, and it has been another phenomenal success. Chanel, you are such an incredibly intelligent young woman. I have just been honored to work with you this past year. You come tirelessly to council meetings, even tonight on a beautiful day in June when you have your grade 12 math exam tomorrow. Here you are at council, and so I just wanted to acknowledge you and thank you for your participation in the program, and let you know that it's been an honor to have you, and I hope that you have learned a lot about council. Good stuff, all the good stuff, right? And just say that it's been a wonderful experience, and I hope that you continue to talk about it in the community as an experience for women to participate in as we look to run our third year next year. And I also did want to note that Chanel was our first protege who was also a high school student, and through our experience together, that has not been a barrier. It's worked out wonderfully. Chanel has participated in the Recreation and Community Services Committee and has contributed there, and so it's just been a fantastic experience. So thank you.
Excellent. Any words, any comments?
I'd like to thank City Council for providing this opportunity for us, especially Councillor Hogan and Councillor Lafreniere for volunteering their time. It's been really great, and I really encourage you to continue this program.
Excellent. I know your friends and family, especially your parents, are going to be very proud of you, but in all honesty, get home and study. Now, I stated I was out of town a little bit during the last 2 weeks. I know other members of council attended a number of events. I'm going to go around and see if they want to provide comment. I'll first start with Councillor Hogan.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. You alluded to it already. I've attended the FCM annual conference in Niagara Falls May 30th to June 2nd, and it was a bit of a bittersweet time just because as I play a leadership role in the organization as a committee chair for the Standing Committee on Increasing Women's Participation in Municipal Government. It was quite a busy time. With our policy forum and on our fundraisers, but also there were a number of other activities going on with workshops, policy forums, and federal political leaders coming to present to the delegates. And so I did decide at this time to not let my name stand for the board for another year. I would like to just focus a little bit more time and energy here at home. Every year it's a difficult decision, and so this year I feel that it's right to focus that energy here at home in Thompson. I would like to extend my thanks and gratitude to Thompson City Council for the past number of years that they have supported me in running for the board, and I extend my thanks to Manitoba delegates that elected me every year when we were in Niagara Falls as well. And so I just wanted to make sure that I express that gratitude, but also to let you know that I will be continuing with FCM. The City of Thompson is signed up as a hometown champion, which is a new FCM campaign that they're initiating, focusing efforts on local priorities to really target the 2015 federal election and on all political stripes to make sure that the municipal voice is heard and becomes an issue in the 2015 election. And I also just wanted to note that a bit of good news when we were at the conference was that the election of the third vice president came from the Prairies and Territories Caucus this year, and Jenny Gerbasi, councillor in the city of Winnipeg, is actually our new third vice president for the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. So that is a really good link for us in the city of Thompson. We have that Manitoba connection that we can link into for the next number of years. So thank you. Again, that's my point of view from the FCM conference. Thank you all again for your support over the past number of years.
Thank you, and thank you for your representation. It has been absolutely phenomenal, so I much appreciate it. Councillor Beyer.
You mentioned being out of town. I was in Saskatoon for a week, and I just want to comment on driving the streets in Saskatoon area. One of my first thoughts was, gee, I think we're ahead of Saskatoon in terms of community cleanup. That was before our community cleanup. Saskatoon is known as a beautiful city, and really and truly our people do an awesome job, so I just thought I'd throw that in. Some of the things I just wanted to bring up, Sunday morning I brought greetings on behalf of the city to the Manitoba Association of Friendship Centers Annual General Assembly. They're facing lots of new work and decisions, and it was nice to see a provincial event hosted in Thompson. It's always nice to see a provincial event hosted in Thompson. Also, there's a group of people who have been working extremely hard to prepare a proposal for seniors housing in Thompson. They got their proposal completed and on the bus so it can be delivered on time, and I would just encourage people, regardless of what their faith or belief is, to say a prayer and cross your fingers, whatever the case may be, that the proposal is successful, because it's the proposal will add 30 units for seniors, affordable independent living, and we are a very severe shortage. Just a little figure in the research, we found out that in the last 10 years, the senior population, 55 and over, has increased by 12%. So our demographics are changing. Also want to congratulate the Communities in Bloom Boreal Discovery Center groups. The Communities in Bloom held a perennial sale at the Boreal Discovery Center. It's nice to see organizations work together like this. From what I hear, despite the bad weather, it was successful. So I want to congratulate them. And also the Boreal Discovery Center is holding its annual general meeting June 25th. And when you see the advertising for it, maybe mark it off in your calendar, because I have the feeling they're going to be unveiling something very special. So.
Thank you. And you also attended the Community Futures Annual General Meeting.
Sorry.
I knew that.
That was my first Community Futures meeting, and I really appreciated the day one. We had a workshop on board governance, and that was exceptionally helpful and useful, and it would be something that would be nice to see offered, hint, hint, to other boards in Thompson.
Thank you. Any further comments from members of council? Councilor Kalata.
Thank you. I attended the local Mamaweetuck Friendship Center 38th Annual General Assembly on Thursday, May 29th. And I don't think we in the city fully appreciate how fortunate we are to have this facility. It's one of the largest friendship centers operating in Canada, with over 60 staff and members. It offers over 18 different programs and a multitude of services, plus maintaining several buildings within the city of Thompson. And their net assets invested in capital equates to over $8 million in Thompson. So, as with any successful organization, the credit can be attributed to the staff and board. So congratulations to Anita Campbell, the CEO, and Greg Fiddler, the president of the board. And for those who chose the hockey game over the meeting, you missed a terrific dinner. Secondly, I went to the Valley Community Liaison Committee meeting on June 5th. We had a Manitoba operations update, community sharing and updates. A number of presentations were made. We had an environmental monitoring update from Rochelle Trottier, and we had a presentation provided on the tailings management area by Matt Vander Huden and Dennis Pilon. So, and finally, I wanted to comment on something that happened last night at a public event at the Legion. There was a requirement for the ambulance, and the Legion, of course, have their own stretcher and so on. And by the time they got the lady to the door, the ambulance was there. So it was a really fast response time. So I'd like to acknowledge our ambulance people for that.
Very good. Thank you. Any further comments? Councilor Robinson.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. Yesterday, 12:30, I attended the Christian Fellowship of Thompson fundraiser for our Home Kikinau. It was well attended, and actually the fellowship matched dollar for every dollar that was raised at that fundraiser yesterday. It was a good turnout. And as for the Nickel Days coming up soon before the next council meeting, I challenge every member of council to sit on the dunk tank and raise funds for charities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Get up again.
So, any other comments from members of council? Everyone's been very busy. It's a sign of the time. Just to highlight that we are going into, I used to always call it the 10 days of celebration. It actually works out in more than that. It's actually 12 days. starting on National Aboriginal Day, June the 21st here in McLean Park, going through Nickel Days, Thompson Regional Community Center, and then concluding with Canada Day. It's going to be a heck of a few weeks coming up. Encourage people to get out, get involved. All starts off a little bit before our next council meeting, so encourage people to make it a family event and get out. Lastly, I do have one proclamation. Councillor Byer touched on it a little bit earlier, and in the spirit of clean and healthy city, I am very pleased that by the virtue of the authority vested in me as Mayor of Thompson, I hereby proclaim June the 2nd through the 8th, 2014 as Communities in Bloom Week in the City of Thompson. I've been extremely impressed with how good the city looks, and I want to thank all those volunteers that have been involved. And it will take a community to make Thompson look and feel better, so I thank everyone for doing that. That concludes the Mayor's report, and I'd be open to a motion to adjourn. Councillor Robinson, Councillor Lafreniere, all those in favor? We stand adjourned. We'll now move to question period. Any questions? Please state your name and question.
Melanie Cutler. My question is, it's been 3 months since the casino conversation. I'm just wondering where you are in talks with it.
I can tell you that there have been no further dialogue in terms of that discussion, and we await AMC. As I indicated at the time, contrary to what was said and what many believed, it wasn't happening the following week. There was a whole process that has to be worked through, including, I believe, 7 steps in accordance with the resolution that was passed. I understand that they may have initiated some of that work, but we have not had any further dialogue.
And is this public utility board meeting being held tomorrow?
Mr. Sepatelli?
It's not a Public Utilities Board hearing. This is the consultant that's been hired by the City of Thompson is having an information session for residents of the city for input. Based on that input and council's input, the report to the Public Utilities Board will be submitted prior to the end of the month, and the Public Utilities Board then will determine as to when the formal public hearings will be held, likely in the fall.
So again, where is it being held?
Oh, sorry, it'll be held at, I believe it's at City Hall,
Thank you.
council chambers, at 7 o'clock.
Thank you. Any further comments? Third and final time, it's a beautiful night. Any further comments? Seeing none, enjoy it. I understand we're going to get rain and who knows, maybe even snow. Have a great week. Thank you.